My wife and I went to Japan, or actually the island of Okinawa, which is part of Japan, for Christmas and New Year's this last year. I've got a daughter and a son-in-law and their kids that live there. And while we were there, my son-in-law, Christmas was great, by the way. Thanks for asking. While we were there, my son-in-law said, "Dad, do you want to go to a hardware store?" And I said, "A hardware store? Yeah, sure, sure, right." So he took me to this place, huge store. I mean, it's at least as big as any Home Depot or Lowe's, either one. And this thing had anything and everything you could imagine in there. And so he was looking for something specific that for a little project he was working on. And I was kind of along for the ride, but um, anyway, so he asked the guy for some help, and my son-in-law doesn't speak a lot of Japanese, but a little bit. So he did the best he could, and he asked this guy for what he was looking for. I don't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. And the guy kind of got the message and knew what it was, and showed it to him. Thank you, thank you. And I said hi, hi, and he said the Japanese equivalent of anything else. My son-in-law pointed at me, and I asked him for something that the guy had no clue. My son-in-law punched it into his phone, showed him a picture of it, and he goes, "No, no." Okay, fine. And again, the equivalent of anything else. I said one word, "Dozuki." And this guy, his face lit up, and he got real animated. And he goes, "Hi, hi, hi, hi." Yeah. And he took off almost running. So we get down this aisle, and if you don't know what a dozuki is, I'll show you here in a minute. But we he took off running and got down this aisle, and he goes, "Dozuki!" And there was this aisle. It was about 20 feet long, and from the shelf down at this far off the floor up to at least 7 feet high, there were 3 or 4 dozen packages hanging there, and they were all wrapped in plastic and just a beautiful display. And it started off at like 1,000 yen and went up to 20,000 yen or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it was. And I'm going, wow, that's a big supply. He goes, "Dozuki, Dozuki, Ryobi." I go, "Yeah, right. Okay." Or Ryoba. Anyway, so anyway, they're all over the place here. And my son-in-law goes, "So that's what you're talking about?" And I said, "Yeah, I've always wanted one. And we're in Japan. Where better to buy a Ryoba or a Dozuki?" If you don't know, they're both Japanese pull saws. This one is technically a Ryoba. I called it a Dozuki and got the point across. But this is technically a Ryoba because it has 2 sides and it does 2 functions. It has the fine tooth side and it has a coarse tooth side. And you use these the same way that you use any saw that you've ever used before. Like on your table saw, for instance, you've got fairly large teeth because you're going with the grain. So it's a with the grain, it's a rip saw. That would be the bigger teeth. And on the other side, you've got the finer teeth for a crosscut. So I'm going to show you, I'm cutting a couple of notches this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this is done. And so first of all, I'm going to go across the grain. So I'm using the finer teeth and line it up, put my fingers here to hold it. And remember, you're cutting on the pull stroke, not on the push stroke like you would a hacksaw or a fret saw or anything like that. You're cutting on the pull stroke. So you got to start it similar to the way you do one of our saws, one of the an American or Western style saw. So you push the opposite direction to get it started. Okay, so I'm cutting through 2 pieces right now because basically the slots match. Okay, so I'm watching on the side here to get down approximately level. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to flip it on its side. That's still in view. And then I'm going to change to the larger teeth. Line it up, hold the finger there in it to get it started. Oh, this is not very solid on here. I should have clamped it a little better. Yeah, that's all right. This would be good for demonstration purposes. And sometimes, you know, like it is with any handsaw that you're running, sometimes it takes a little time to get it to actually start and go. Okay. And sometimes I'll cheat a little bit and I'll start with the finer threads just to get it going just a little bit. Okay, then you change to the other. There you go. Okay, see? And just like any Western saw, you got to make sure that you get your finger out of the way before you cut it. Okay. I'm glad I reminded myself of that. And I don't know if you can see it. No, you probably can't. Here, let me turn it this way. And you can probably see a little more sawdust coming out the back than what's going out the front. And that's because it's cutting on the pole stroke. And before I got one of these, and actually I bought one of the cheap ones that Harbor Freight had, and used it for a little over a year, and absolutely fell in love with the saw. And like I said, it was one that Harbor Freight had, and it was a little bit cheap and cheesy. So when I bought this little bit better one, and I mentioned they were all priced in yen, okay, this one was 3,000 yen, which is roughly $30. And like I said, they went up to like 20,000 yen, which is about $200. So I can't imagine how good it would be if I'd have spent the big bucks on it. But I wanted to do this. First of all, one of the main reasons, you can see that it's kind of long. I just measured the inside of my checked bag, and I was using a smaller bag than I had to, but this fit right in my checked bag. Wouldn't go in my carry-on, but it fit in my checked bag. And when I got home, I noticed that my bag had been opened, and they moved a bunch of stuff around. So they definitely wanted to look at it. But look at this cut. Look how nice and smooth this one is. Oh, it's like butter there. And this is really nice too. And it's a little hard to get that kind of a quality cut with a fret saw or a coping saw, or especially not a hacksaw. Hacksaw works okay on some things, but not all that well on stuff like this. Anyway, so this is a Ryoba, and the Dozuki is just one edge, and it's more flexible than this. This is pretty flexible. Can you see that? Up on top of here, and you can. This is pretty flexible, but the Ryoba is a little bit more flexible, and it's usually only about so wide instead of the full width, and it's got one set of teeth. And they're probably a little finer than this. I know they're a little finer than this. They might not be this fine. Anyway, that's all I got for you on the Ryoba. And hey, thanks for watching. Do the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Love you guys.